Welcome to the Powerbomb podcast. My name is JP. If you're watching on TikTok, please make sure to hit that like and follow. If you're watching on YouTube, please make sure to hit that subscribe. And let's get into a WWE Smackdown that I thought was very good. Also, very long. I can't do these 3-hour Smackdowns. I know they have plenty of talent to go 3 hours. I know everybody needs their airtime. But Jesus Christ, it's too long, especially on a Friday night. I really need SmackDown to go to 2 hours, and if we have to, move some things to the next show, fine. We don't need 3 hours. 3 hours is too much for a Friday night wrestling show. But anyways, let's get into the kind of the sad part before I get into SmackDown. A lot of WWE releases. Alistair and Zelina. It didn't work. You brought Alistair back. We wanted Alistair back. Alistair back in WWE. We wanted him from, coming from AEW. What he was doing over there as Malachi. He comes back as Alistair, and it just didn't hit. It did not hit. Same thing with how they did the same type of thing with Karrion Kross. It just did not work. Another release was the Motor City Machine Guns. Another one, it just didn't work. The tag team division is trash. They took too long to get the titles back on the Usos. The Motor City Machine Guns weren't, I guess, getting over with the fans. They're from TNA. Fans don't really know them that much, especially the real diehard ones. They're not really watching WWE, so I understood that one. And this one. This is the big one right here. The entire Wyatt 6. Done. It's over. You had the great debut, you came back, you had that amazing segment where it looked like the Wyatt Six just took out the whole back room, and then you got Uncle Howdy to the side doing this and everything, and you followed it up. You went, now I know this is not that big of a deal, but to me it is because I'm an old school wrestling fan. The Wyatt Six, that freaking picture at Carl's Jr., wherever fast food establishment it was, with the kids, and they're not in there just being regular people, and how this thing blew up. Like, you just had this amazing segment where you brought back the Wyatt Six, and then they're at a Whataburger, or wherever the fuck they are, getting burgers with fans. It just was a bad look. It didn't work. The Wyatt Six just didn't work. They didn't have stories for them. There was no way for this to work. As much as I'm a horror fan, this failed across the board. No more Joe Gacy, no more Dexter Lumis, no more Nikki Cross, no more Bo Dallas, no more Eric Rowan. They're all gone. They all got their release along with Piper Niven, Alba Fire, Kairi Sane, which I'm wondering if she's going to come back. I know she said goodbye and everything, but I'm not sold entirely on Kairi Sane. This could be a way to repackage her, but she could be gone as well. I don't know. But everybody is gone pretty much, and thank God for Santos Escobar. All the tools to be really good. Just wasn't charismatic and good enough on the mic and not believable, so him going, that's fine. It is what it is. But all those W releases, they'll wind up somewhere. Maybe Tony Khan he shut the Alistair stuff down. He ain't coming back. But Motor City Machine Guns could possibly show up in July. I guess they're going to be in Detroit. Also, the whole Wyatt Six, if you can find a way to make that work. I don't know. But Tony Khan, the door's open. You could take some. It's possible. Let's get into WWE Smackdown. The Smackdown after WrestleMania. And how do we start out? We start out with showing Cody Rhodes coming in the suit and his championship. You see the eye that Randy punted almost damn near through his skull. Then you see Rhea with her walking through the back with the championship. And then you see Trick Williams coming out of the bus with Lil Yachty and Gingerbread Man. And they're happy. They're new United States champion. Then you get Danhausen driving by Trick Williams. And Danhausen says something along the lines of, "Oh, watch out, I'll curse you. Look at what I did to Stephen A. Smith. How about those Knicks, Stephen A.?" So that was kind of a funny way to start SmackDown. But then we get into some real shit, which is Jacob Fatu coming out after he came out and addressed Roman Reigns and said, I want everything you have, OTC. So he comes out, he cuts a really good promo talking about how Roman said he's not ready, and Jacob's like, I've always been told I wasn't ready. Not ready for main event, not ready for this, not ready for family, not ready for this, not ready for that. That was pretty much his whole thing. And then the Usos come out, interrupt Jacob, and the Usos are saying, like, Jacob, you don't need to go after the OTC. You want everything the OTC has, just join us. You'll get the money. The family will be taken care of. New cars. Everything you want, Jacob. Just join us. You don't need to take on Roman Reigns. And then you get the MFTs come down with Solo. And Solo saying, Jacob, everything the Usos are saying, they can't deliver it. But I can, Jacob. Remember, Jacob, I was the one that brought you back. I was the one that brought you into WWE in the first place. They didn't want any part of you. I gave you that opportunity. It was me. And then they're all in the ring. And then Tama Tonga takes away the mic and says, I don't know why we're wasting our time with Jacob. Why are we wasting our time with Jacob? We don't need Jacob. Jacob can't even beat you, Solo. So it was just a damn good segment. Definitely a big push for Jacob Fatu going into the summer. Definitely a good story coming out of WrestleMania. Jacob wanting to go against the OTC. I like all of this. It's very good, very entertaining. And then after that segment, we got Tiffany versus Julia, which went about 5 minutes, 41 seconds. Didn't really give them much time. The person that I thought was more over in this was Kiana James, just from her reactions on the outside. The match was somewhat okay, not very great. I really liked the spot, though, where Julia got a submission off of the moonsault by Tiffany Stratton. I thought that was really good. But yeah, it was a 5-minute match. Nothing really to do there. Then you get Danhausen going to the Miz's house. He goes to the Miz's house. He rings the doorbell. First, he shows everyone like this is where the Miz lives because he's got his little map and everything. And so, rings the doorbell. Miz answers. Danhausen's not there. Miz shuts the door. Danhausen's in his house. Him and Miz have a back and forth interaction. And then Miz is looking at Danhausen. Danhausen disappears again. And then Danhausen ends up being in his swimming pool, which I thought was funny. And Miz is out there being like, you're in my pool. Yes, I'm in your pool and there's a golf course, so make sure to be quiet. You know, the people that play golf, they don't like noise. So I thought that was funny. Danhausen did a really good job there. And then when we got back, we see Tiffany with Kathy Kelly. And Tiffany talking about how she is now your United States Women's Champion. And then you get then you get Brie Mode's music hitting. And Brie comes out with Paige. The fans are so excited to see Paige. Paige is in the ring with her and Brie. And they're talking about how they're going to be the tag team champions. And anybody in that locker room wants to come out here and give us a try. And that's when you get Charlotte and Alexa come out being like, we want those tag titles. And we want a match tonight. So they make it official. An impromptu championship match, which went about 3 minutes and 6 seconds because it was what happened next. So Paige is on the apron, and then all of a sudden, JC Jane pulls her from the apron. And the fatal influence of Fallon Henley and I don't know the other one's name. They show up and they just take out Charlotte, they take out Alexa, they take out Paige, they take out Brie. A great way to debut Fatal Influence in WWE by having them take out legends. Legends like Charlotte Flair, one of the greatest to ever do it. Alexa Bliss. Freaking Brie Bella. And then you have them take out Paige. Just a great debut for Fatal Influence. I loved everything about this. Then we got a good vignette about Royce Keys. Roy Keys is an inspiration to his hometown. They're so happy he's in WWE. He's just a great vignette showing what he means to those people and how Royce Keys is going to be in WWE. Just a really good segment there. And then Cody Rhodes comes out. And Cody Rhodes was playing with all the cards tonight. He was phenomenal in his promo. He talked about how everyone wants to know why after the punt I got up and I pulled myself up and I walked up that ramp. It's because, Randy, you can't keep me down. You punted me and I'm still here. Sami Zayn calling me the golden boy and I'm still here. And to those outside enforcers, 0-3, I'm still here. So he says, anybody on Raw, anybody on Smackdown, anybody on NXT, I'm easy to find. And I'm not going anywhere. Because I'm a fighting champion. Cody Rhodes had a hell of a promo. Hell of a promo by Cody Rhodes. I enjoyed the hell out of it. He had vinegar. He had vivacious. He was angry. It was just from the heart. Just a damn good promo by Cody Rhodes. Then we had our tag team championship match between Damian Priest and R-Truth versus the MFTs, Tama Tonga and JC Mateo. It went about 5 minutes. Nothing special. What are you gonna do in 5 minutes? Damian and R-Truth retain. Nothing big there. Then we had part 2 of our segment with The Miz and Danhausen. Miz is still at Danhausen is still at The Miz's house, and Danhausen goes into the golf simulator and he's playing with the golf stuff. And then The Miz comes in, and I walked away for a second, so I don't know what happened, but all I know is Miz was on the ground and Danhausen is actually in his house. And then Danhausen took a slam and he's like, "All right, well, I'm leaving. Thank you everyone for having Danhausen." And then he's leaving, and then Maurice is there and she's like, "You, Danhausen." And then Miz comes out, and he has the chocolate, and he takes a thing of chocolate and throws it, and Danhausen obviously disappears, gets Maurice all freaking dirty and everything, and they just look at each other and like, "Danhausen." And then Danhausen leaves on his little Danhausen mobile with the Slammy Award he stole from The Miz, and The Miz is just staring at him being like, "That's my daughter's bike. That's my daughter's bike." So that follows into their match that they're going to have later on tonight. And then we get Trick with Lil Yachty and the Gingerbread Man coming out to have their United States Championship celebration. And Trick Williams comes out and says, "You know what? That whole open challenge thing, we're done with that. We're done with that. Nobody needs opportunities. I am the opportunity. I will give you the opportunity. No more handouts. I'm not feeding the homeless. You want it, come at me." And I'm pretty sure Whoop That Trick is about beating women as a pimp. So I'm kind of confused why everybody's cheering, why everybody's saying "Whoop That Trick," because it's kind of weird. But that's what I'm getting from it. And he's dressed like a pimp. So that's what I'm getting from it. Then He's doing everything, saying no more open challenges, none of that. Now, he comes out with the Gingerbread Man, and WWE always does this. There's always a segment where, like, they come out with, like, a mascot or something, and that mascot turns out to be another wrestler. And this time, Lil Yachty's leaving the ring. Also, I thought it was funny, Lil Yachty said to Trick, like, "Listen, I'm your brain fog here, guys. Having brain fog here. You're my Tyson. I'm Don King. You're Jordan. I'm Pippen." So basically, Lil Yachty's gonna be here to stay for quite a while. Then, as Lil Yachty's leaving, Trick's in the ring by himself with the Gingerbread Man. Gingerbread Man has a cane. Pretty much just a damn near kendo stick. And the Gingerbread Man hits Trick Williams in the back. And then Lil Yachty comes back in, and the Gingerbread hits him. Gingerbread Man, Sami Zayn, everybody, and boy, did he get booed out of the effing building. Nobody wants Sami Zayn. I don't want Sami Zayn anymore. Can we get to Trick Williams versus Carmelo Hayes? Get rid of the Sami Zayn thing. Because I don't even think he's going to work as a heel. I just don't think people want to see him. That's why he's getting booed. Then we get Danhausen versus The Miz. And obviously in The Miz's corner is Kit Wilson. This match went for about 2 minutes, 11 seconds. Danhausen had a really cool entrance with the little Danhausen mobile. He went around the ring and everything. He parked it. He had the Slammy Award with Danhausen across of it. You know, used the tape to cover up The Miz. And there's a moment where Kit Wilson and The Miz are on the apron and they're doing some pose, and then Danhausen does the "You are cursed," and then Pyro hits both of them, distracting The Miz. Miz falls back. Danhausen gets the 1, 2, 3. Just smart booking from WWE on this one. Just absolute smart booking. And then we get to see that Blake Monroe is coming to SmackDown, and I think this is phenomenal for Blake Monroe. She has outgrown NXT. She is ready for the next step. She was AEW Women's Champion. She had a phenomenal story with her and Toni Storm. Now she gets to be on the WWE SmackDown main roster from NXT. I like this a lot because now it looks like Fatal Influence is there to stay, and then you have Charlotte and Alexa and all these legends, and you got the youth. This is definitely the youth movement for WWE, and it's happening very quickly with Fatal Influence joining SmackDown and now Blake Monroe joining SmackDown. So this is just good stuff left and right for WWE. And then Rhea comes out. Rhea comes out with her championship looking great, looking phenomenal. And she's in the ring and she's talking about how she's going to be a fighting champion. Any challengers back there that want a shot at this, come out. And we got Fatal Influence music and JC Jane. And I'm thinking to myself, yes, something fresh, something new. I like this. They just made their debut. They took out legends like Alexa and Charlotte and Brie and Paige, and now we got JC Jane in a face-off with Rhea Ripley. I love all of this. They had a very good match that went about 8 minutes and 34 seconds. Very good match. JC Jane looked very strong. Rhea did a great job making her look good. Just a phenomenal match, and the way it ended was even better because then you had Fallon Henley come in and take out the leg of Rhea Ripley, and then Fatal Influence is just beating them down left and right. Just a great way. Fatal Influence had a great night on SmackDown. A great way to bring them to the main roster. I loved every bit of it. It was good stuff. Very, very good stuff. And then we had an amazing package with Brock Lesnar. Just a great vignette with Godsmack's I Stand Alone, showing his WWE debut and beating The Rock and beating Angle, and then it went into him going to UFC and beating Randy Couture and all those guys and winning that championship as well. And then it shows him going back to WWE, winning the championship again, having his feud with Roman Reigns, just basically showing why Brock Lesnar is probably one of the greatest of all time to do this. And that's not even an exaggeration. Being in WWE, starting out in WWE, first of all, being in college and winning the national championship, that's a hell of a thing. Then you go to WWE and you become that champion. And then you go to UFC, which is actual fighting, where you actually beat the shit out of people, and Brock Lesnar did that. And then come back to WWE and end the streak of The Undertaker and all the other stuff that comes along with it, like defeating Roman Reigns. Brock Lesnar definitely is one of the greatest of all time to ever do this. Period, end of story. And if you don't think that, hit me in the comments below, because Brock Lesnar is most likely one of the greatest WWE superstars of all time. Because he's not a superstar, he's just a pure ass kicker. That's what he does. Then we get a little package that Ricky Saints is going to debut in SmackDown next week, which means the youth movement is truly coming. On Raw, you have Ethan Page that made his debut. Now on SmackDown, you have Ricky Saints making his debut. And think of what you can do with Ricky Saints. If you do have CM Punk coming to SmackDown, they had a feud in AEW, you can build that up. The American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, trained Ricky Saints, sorry. So you can do that feud. There's so many things to work with. Ricky Saints and Kit Wilson. That could be a decent feud. Ricky Saints against Trick Williams. That could be a decent feud. Ricky Saints and Carmelo. The list goes on and on what you can do with Ricky Saints. So I'm very interested to see how SmackDown uses Ricky Saints. And then it was time for Solo versus Jacob Fatu. This match went about 10 minutes. They gave him time. After the the MFTs, attacked Jacob at the end of the match. Jacob got the win. MFTs attacked Jacob. The Usos are there. Jacob says, I don't need your help. I don't want your help. So the Usos don't help him. After the match, Jacob just takes out the MFTs try to attack Jacob, and then Jacob just beats the crap out of all of them. Takes out Tama and JC put the chairs around both their necks in two different sides of the ring on the ring posts. Hit a freaking hip attack on one of them. Went around, hit the hip attack on the other one, took out both of them. Then freaking took Talatonga, put him on the table on the outside, and then freaking did a splash through there. He did not need any help to take out the MFTs, and this was a strong message from Jacob Fatu saying, I don't want to join you, I don't need to join you, I just want everything you have, and I'm coming for that World Heavyweight Championship. Great showing by Jacob Fatu. Jacob and Roman is setting up to be a pretty damn good feud, and I hope Jacob does not end up joining the New Bloodline. I think Jacob versus the Bloodline, both new and old, could be damn good story, and I am very interested to see what happens with Cody Rhodes going forward. But if I have to give out 3 All-Star awards for who had the best night on SmackDown, number 1, I'm going with JC Jane and the Fatal Influence joining SmackDown. Great job, both segments, taking out legends, taking out Rhea Ripley, really showing dominance. I loved every bit of it. That was a great way to debut them. Gave me old Shield vibes and kind of Nexus vibes by the way they did that, so I really like that. Number 2, I'm going with Cody Rhodes. His promo was great, saying that it takes more than Randy, you punted me, and I'm still standing. Just a great message sent to Randy Orton. This guy is a champion that will get knocked down, but he will not stay down. He will keep getting up, keep fighting. So I love that for Cody Rhodes. And then number 3, Jacob Fatu across the board had a great night, starting the show, ending the show. Pure dominance, taking out the MFTs, not wanting to join the Roman Reigns. Great stuff. Looking forward to Monday Night Raw. Everyone, have yourselves a great weekend. This is the Powerbomb. I'm JP. Enjoy your day.